Now, your forecast first, sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
It was another hot one across central Illinois, and our temperatures reflect that right now. 89 degrees in Champaign, but it is 90 in Watseka, as well as in Bloomington, Springfield, Jacksonville, as well as Effingham, 91 in Decatur, and 92 for Paris, as well as Petersburg in our Gibson City area, on our Gibson area Hospital and Health Services weather camera on our roofing dog on it. We once again have that hazy sunshine out there, and we are expecting more clear skies overnight tonight as well as for the day tomorrow. Our winds remain out of the southwest between about 5 and 10 miles per hour. Another hot backyard forecast for this evening, and we're calling for basically the same forecast for the day tomorrow. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
Now from WCIA 3 News.
It was another hot summer day in central Illinois. How the heat impacted students back in the classroom.
Wear a mask. This is not that difficult a thing to do.
Another region is now facing tougher COVID-19 restrictions. How central Illinois compares to those seeing a crackdown. And a private school is reporting positive cases. Why it's not stopping in-person classes.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 5.
At 11:45, it was 84 degrees out, but inside the building, it was 88.
And eventually it reached into the 90s, which meant some schools were closing, but not because of COVID-19. Good evening. I'm Jennifer Roscoe. We have team coverage on the heat tonight. Meteorologist Jack Gerfin is here with more on the hot, and WCIA 3's Courtney Bunting live in our newsroom with how it impacted schools. All right, first to Courtney. Some students got out early because of this. So how do schools come to that decision?
Well, Jennifer, obviously the heat is a big factor, and all of them say it's because in addition to that, there's buildings, many of them don't have air conditioning. Tuscola schools let out at noon, for example. Their superintendent says 2 of their 3 buildings don't have AC. So if the heat index is expected to reach 100 or go over, they let kids out early. Some even make the call before that point. For example, Watseka schools also had early dismissal at 1:30. They say none of their buildings have air conditioning. But this wasn't just because of the heat.
Our kids are now wearing face masks all the time, and we're trying to put into the schedule where we can get them outside so that they can take their masks off and socially distance. But then also now you're looking at the heat index where they shouldn't even be going outside. It's a tough call.
Watseka schools will keep that 1:30 dismissal through September 18th. That's because it gives their teachers a chance to reach out to all students. For example, they're split into A and B days. So today, B students came to school in person. So teachers didn't see A students. So after 1:30, teachers have a chance to communicate with A students or the students that they don't see in person that day. And we've also told you before about districts choosing to go completely virtual. So many that would normally be considering those early dismissals because of the heat didn't have to face that decision today. Reporting live in the newsroom, Courtney Bunting, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
Yeah, hopefully those kids had air conditioning at home. All right, thank you. And we are not out of the woods yet with that heat. Meteorologist Jack Gerfin is with us. So just how hot did it get today? Is it going to get worse?
Yeah, Jennifer, we do have temperatures that are slowly going to be coming down a little bit, so we should be okay. Our high temperature for today, we topped it at 90, and many spots were right around 90 to 93. However, Petersburg got to 95 degrees for the high temperature today. Now, as of yesterday, there have been 19 90-degree or higher days here for the summer. There should normally be around 18 to 19 anyway, so it's actually right on track for being average. The highest temperature this year was 93 degrees, and we've actually seen that happen 3 times, July 6th, 7th, as well as August 10th. And we have had in June 6 days of 90 degrees or more for the month. In July, that was the leader right now at 11, and then August has only seen 2. If today ends up being 90 degrees officially, it would bump us up another day, and we are still calling for a few more days here to be in the lower 90s. As you can see with our forecast, tomorrow we've got a high of 92 expected, then 90 for Thursday, and then once we get to Friday, Jennifer, we're going to be out of the 90s and into the 80s, and we have even better news here coming up in the full forecast in a little bit.
Okay, yeah, I want to go back to average.
Yeah, we're on our way. All
right, thanks.
Trust me.
Thanks, Jack. In other news now, Governor Pritzker cracked down on a second region in Illinois today. He added new restrictions on bars and restaurants in Will and Kankakee counties, where the number of people testing positive for COVID-19 keeps rising. Our Capitol Bureau Chief, Mark Maxwell, is live there in Springfield tonight. And Mark, so regions to our north and our south have moved back from the phase 4 where we are right now.
Jennifer, good evening. Metro East and now the south suburbs are the two corners of Illinois that are seeing tougher restrictions come in place, including a curfew. Bars and restaurants can no longer serve customers indoors, and by 11, they have to close down their entire operations. Other social gatherings and meetings are shrinking as well, down from 50% capacity to a capacity of just 25% indoors. Those regions ran into Governor Pritzker's guardrails, where more than 8% of the coronavirus tests came back positive. That's what triggered, after those 3 days in that danger zone, it triggered those tougher restrictions. But our regions are doing much better. Those restrictions nowhere in our immediate future. Champaign and Decatur and surrounding counties down at 1.6% of tests coming back positive. Springfield and the counties to our west coming back at 5.5. Yes, a bit higher, but not as high as they are around the state. Those troubling signs of infection rates creeping back up closer to Chicago and their surrounding suburbs are prompting Governor Pritzker to once again preach a common theme.
Wear a mask. This is not that difficult a thing to do. It is for a period of time. It will end. There are vaccines and treatments that are in development. I think we all have some optimism that by next year we will have those available to us, and perhaps we can do away with masks altogether. But in the meantime, masks, social distance, wash your hands, these are just basic, easy things that everybody ought to be doing.
The governor there pleading with the public, saying some short-term discipline can have some long-term dividends. But for now, our regions in central Illinois have no immediate restrictions in our immediate future, as far as we can tell. We remain the most open we've been since the very beginning of these crackdowns. But the governor did announce one new adjustment to the mask mandate. This goes into effect tomorrow, and he says it's statewide. The governor's asking restaurants, you may see signs like this all up over restaurants and bars. If you go out and about, wait staff will start to ask you to wear a mask over your nose and your mouth anytime you encounter them, either at the table, at a drive-thru, if you're picking up curbside for delivery or pickup there. Anytime you interact with staff or they come into that 6-foot personal space, the state is now asking you to wear a mask during that interaction. The recent rule was that you only had to wear one when walking in and sitting down. Now, anytime you're coming into that close personal space. Jennifer?
Okay. Everybody needs to follow it. Thank you, Mark. Taking a look at today's numbers now, Champaign County had another record-setting day of cases. Many of those are students returning to the U of I. There are 86 new cases today. That follows up from the 68 yesterday. But the rolling positivity rate from those days is just 0.7%. That's really, really low. There are more than 1,600 new cases statewide. That brings the total up to 223,000. 29 more people have died. There are now more than 7,900 COVID-related deaths in the state. One university faculty union approved an agreement on their school's reopening plan. 180 out of the 297 members of EIU's union voted yesterday. The agreement with the university gave the union the choice of if and when faculty was on campus. The union originally filed unfair labor practice charges against the university over safety concerns for students and staff. EIU has both in-person and online learning. Classes started yesterday. A private high school in Springfield confirmed there are 2 positive COVID cases there. The news comes just a few days into the new school year. WCIA3's Cole Henke has more.
Sacred Heart Griffin High School in Springfield reported 2 cases of COVID-19 since the school year started, and the private high school is still continuing with in-person classes with no plans to stop soon. While the school does have contingencies set up for students who are quarantining, they do not have a hybrid plan. All 550 students at the school reported for in-person learning. The Archdiocese of Springfield decided to go fully in person, but they said they worked with the Department of Public Health and the Sangamon County Public Health Department to come up with their plan.
All the schools are equal and the same as far as we're concerned, and they're all people and kids, and we're trying to help schools go and answer questions for anybody.
Sacred Heart Griffin said that they do not have the resources to offer a hybrid plan. Reporting in Springfield, I'm Cole Henke, WCIA3. Your local news leader.
The school wouldn't confirm if the cases involve students or staff. The school is also being deep cleaned, especially where the people who tested positive would have been. Some drivers now have an extra year to renew expired driver's licenses. We'll tell you who got the extension, plus this.
personal and family resources should have no impact on your child's access to an education.
Schools across central Illinois are getting back to learning. How one district is making sure kids are ready to do it virtually.